Hello, this is Teresa Vasquez Terry with Dr. Tech Mom. We wanted to welcome you to the I Get It, All About Me iSequence app series video tutorials made by I Get It Apps. So these tutorials are created to help you learn how to better use these wonderful apps for your personal, work, and educational needs. The videos are set up to give you training on exactly what you will need to know to get started and become an I Get It app expert. So you can either watch all of the videos in sequence all the way through, or you can choose to select a topic that meets your specific needs. Okay, let's get started learning. As you can see on your screen, there are multiple apps that I Get It Apps has created specifically for social stories. There's the social stories, there are apps that deal specifically with holidays, apps that go with schedules, identification, as well as places. All of the apps are made with the same interface. So once you learn how to use one app, you'll be able to use them all. So let's get started looking at Social Stories app. So when you open up the app, you will notice that you are presented with the options here. In the top left-hand corner, you will see that there is a wrench type of icon, which is specifically for settings. Down here at the bottom left-hand corner, you will see a lock, which is specifically to lock the app using a passcode. We'll get into that a little later. On the bottom right-hand corner here, you will see the ability to add or edit users. So before we get too further in depth of what this app can do, let's start by looking at the settings that are available to us. So we're going to click on the settings button here. And when we do, you will notice that a menu pops up or appears. In this menu, it gives us the options to be able to do several things within the app. So the first option to on-tap picture actually gives us the option to be able to toggle a check mark or to play a sound. So if we click on that specific option, we can see that we can either have it to put a check mark on the picture or to play a sound that maybe was prior recorded for the individual whenever they tap on the picture. The next option is the ability to turn off or on the ability to drag and drop books and pages. Now we're going to keep that on, and I'm going to show you really quickly what that does once we create a user. The rest of the options here give you added information based on tutorials. You can also rate the apps. You can see more apps that are available by I Get It. And then you can also share, give feedback, and get help. Then the following is how you can communicate with I Get It, either to visit their website, like them, or follow them on Twitter. Now that we're familiar with the settings that are available to us, let's start by adding a user. So what we want to do is we want to go to this bottom right-hand corner here, and we want to click on Add User. When we do that, you'll see that a menu or options will appear here. So what I want to do first is to type in my first name. I'm going to type in Teresa. Then I'm going to click on last name, and then I'm going to type in my last name. Now, if I want to add a picture, I can. I'll tap on this option here that says Add Photo, and it'll ask me whether or not I want to either take a photo or choose a photo. In this case, I'm going to choose a photo that is already available in my camera. When I click on that, you'll notice that a pop-up will appear that says, would you allow this app to access your photos? And I'm going to say, okay. Now, when I do, my camera roll appears, and within there, I'm going to select a photo. So I'm going to select my Dr. Tech Mom photo there. Now, I can use two fingers and open and close and resize the photo to fit my needs. And when I'm done with that, I can say done. Now, you see here really quickly how the user will be featured. You'll see the image that will be used as well as the first and last name. If you're satisfied with that, then you can push done. Now we have a new user created. Now that we see how simple it is to add a user, it's also equally as important to also know that you can add multiple users. So I'm going to go back to this bottom left-hand corner again, and I'm going to select Add User. Now, when I select Add User, you'll see that I am presented with the same options that I had before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in my son's name, which is Ramel, last name Terry. I'm also going to add a photo here. And in this case, I am going to choose a photo. I don't have very many options in my camera roll, so I'm just going to use the Dr. Tech Mom logo again and just resize it and place it how I want it and select done. It looks great. I'm satisfied with it, so I'm going to select done again. And now here I have two users. I can continue to add multiple users in order to meet the needs that I have for this specific app. Okay, so now we're looking at the two users that we've created. So let's say, for instance, we've created both of these users, but maybe one's a duplicate, or maybe we don't need both users. We have the option of being able to delete a user. And so what we want to do is we want to select the user that we want to delete. So I'm going to go to the edit button. And here you see it gives me the list of all the users that are available in this specific app. So what I want to do is I want to click on this edit button here, and it will give me the option to either delete. So if I push that button, you'll see the delete button here shows up, or I can change the position of the users. So if I click on these three move icons here, if I hold my finger down on it, I can drag it so that Ramel is now first instead of myself. But what I want to do is I want to delete Ramel. So I'm going to push on this red button here and then select the delete button. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to say done. And then I'm going to push the done button here. And that's how you delete a user. Okay, so now I have my one user. And perhaps I didn't really want to delete Ramel's profile. Maybe it was a duplicate, but I don't really want this profile to be named Teresa Vasquez Terry. I want it to belong to Ramel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down to my edit button and I'm going to select that again. And instead of clicking on the edit button here, what I'm going to do is I am going to click on Teresa Vasquez Terry. And when I do that, you see that it brings me back to the edit user option. So I'm going to delete this and I'm going to type in Ramel's name again. And now that I've changed his name back, I'm going to click on the edit user button here. And it takes me back to the user list. And so now Ramel Terry has replaced Teresa Vasquez Terry. I'm done with that, so I'm going to click on the done button. And so that is how you would edit a user. Okay, now you see that I've added Teresa Vasquez Terry back as a user because I want to show how we would begin to add books and get into the page features of the iGetIt apps. So here we have our two users, and the way that I would get into opening or selecting books for a specific user is just to tap on the user. So I'm going to tap on Ramel Terry. When I do that, you'll see a list of all the books that are available. At this time, we haven't created any books. All we have is the sample book that is created here. Now, a sample book comes ready and prepared for each user that you create so that you can see how to go about putting a book together. So specifically in this app that I'm showing, there are not any specific visuals that come along with it. But let's say, for instance, let's get out of this app really quickly. And let's say, for instance, we opened up one of the holiday apps. So let's open up the Valentine's app. Okay, now when I click on this user, you will see that there are already books that are available for me. That's the differences between all of the iGetIt apps, is that each theme has specific photos and images that are available depending on the theme. So this one is specifically for Valentine's. So if I click on the Valentine's Day book, you'll notice that there are images that go along with that. So keep that in mind whenever we're dealing or talking about the books and the different types of apps that are available. So let's go back to our just basic social stories app, which comes with the sample Feeding Baxter. So if I click on that sample book, you'll notice that there are 4 different images that are there that are available for me to be able to read. Now, if we're looking specifically at these pages, if I click on the read button here at the top right-hand corner, it will begin the book for me. So it starts with the cover, which is Feeding Baxter. Now, down here at the bottom, there are these arrows that I can click on to advance the page. And as I click on the image, if there is a sound, in this instance, the check mark is what we selected in the settings to toggle. So if I click on the book with the check mark toggle selected, then it will check that off, and then I can continue to go forward. And as you're looking here, you see all the images that are available within the book. And now I'm at the end. So when I go back, I'm looking at all of the images that were available. Now, if I wanted to add a page, all I would do is come down here to the bottom right-hand corner, and I would click on Add a Page. Now, we're going to get into the pages in a little bit, but I just wanted to show you really briefly how the books work. Okay, so now I'm back at my user list, and I am going to select on Ramel Terry again. And when I do that, now I want to start adding books to Ramel's collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to select Add Book. Now, when I select Add Book, a couple of really cool options come up. The first is to select a template. So when I click on Select Template, you'll notice that there is an option for the built-in templates, which is just a blank book. And there are also the options to use templates from books that are already created for each user profile. So perhaps there was a book that was created for Teresa that I wanted to use for Ramel, but I wanted to edit it a certain way that met Ramel's needs. Well, then I could select that book from Teresa's list of books as well. And so that helps you to not have to duplicate multiple books for different users. So if you create a template that you really love, you can continue to use it and reuse it over and over again for the users within the app. So in this case, though, I'm going to select on blank book. Now, when I select blank book, it's going to just create just the blank template for that book. Now I can change the book cover image here. So I'm going to select on the book cover image, and it's going to allow me to go either to my picture history, choose a photo, or take a photo. Let's click really quickly on picture history. What that's going to do is that going to allow me to see all the pictures that have been used before and all the other books that I've created. Isn't that awesome? So I don't have to go through looking at maybe the images that are inside of my camera booth app or anything like that. Maybe I just want to use the images that are available within this specific app, which is a really cool feature. But I don't want to use the picture histories at this point because I don't really have any histories created because this is the first book that I've made. So I'm going to choose photo. I'm going to go back to my camera roll, and I'm going to stick with my old trusty Dr. Tech Mom logo there, and then select that as the cover and say done. Now I'm going to edit the book title. So what I'm going to do is to click on that, and I'm just going to start typing in a title. So I'm going to type in test book number 1. And there I have the book title. I've changed the book cover image, and I'm using the blank book template. So I'm satisfied with that, and I'm going to select done. Now you see my test book number 1 is available there. And that is how you create a book. Now, I wanted to take the opportunity to show you really quickly what the other templates might look like if you were using an app that had templates within it. So what I'm going to do is I'm already inside of Ramel's user profile, and these are the books that are available in the Valentine's Day app. I'm going to select Add a Book down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And when I click Select a Template, you'll see that there are a list of built-in templates that are available. I've got the Valentine's Day one, the list of the names, my favorites, my photos, a blank book. And then I see all of the books that were available for Ramel to start. So I just wanted you to see that there are various built-in templates depending on the app that you use. And so those will vary by app as well. Okay, so now I'm looking at both of my books that are available for Ramel under his user profile. Now, let's say, for instance, I have created several books or even just my test book 1, and I don't want that sample book there. The sample book is a template though, so I won't be able to delete it. How in the world can I hide it so that Ramel only has access to test book number 1? Well, if you look over here in the bottom right-hand corner next to add a book, there is an option to edit. Let's click on edit. And you'll see that the list of all the books that are available under his profile are showing there. Now, if I wanted to do something specific to test book number 1, like say change the book cover or even change the name, if there are more settings that are available for a specific book, there will be an arrow here. And if I click on that, you'll see that I'll have the ability to change the cover as well as the book title. But I don't want to do that. I just want to hide the sample book that is available. So what I'll do is I will go to this edit button in the top right-hand corner of the menu. And you'll notice that there are some on-off buttons here. So if I click on the on-off button, it will make Feeding Baxter disappear, as you can see there in the background. Now, let's say, for instance, I didn't want to turn the sample book off. I just wanted to move it. I could click on these move handles here and just hold my finger down and move it wherever I wanted it to go. So that's an option. But what I really want to do is I want to hide the Feeding Baxter book. So I'm going to slide my finger on that on-off button and hide it. I'm going to turn it off. Okay. Now, you'll also see here that if I wanted to delete the test book one, I could do that as well. I could select the delete button and then delete it, but I don't want to delete that. So I think I'm all good here. I've hidden the sample book and I've also changed the order of the books. And so I'm going to select done and then done again. And now you see that the only book that is made available for Ramel is test book number 1. Okay, now we're about to get into the Pages features within the I Get It app series. Okay, so what we want to do first is I'm going to show you really quickly how to set up a new book and add pages to a new book. And then I'm also going to show you how you can edit and customize a book that is already created. So let's start with the ability to customize a book that is already created. So as we saw in the earlier video, we saw that we changed the Ramel profile to only include the book that we created. So let's go back to Teresa's profile and you'll see that there's a sample book there, Feeding Baxter. Now, let's say, for instance, I did need a book about how to feed our pet. So I'm going to click on that sample book and you will see that there are 4 pages that are already created there for me. Now, let's say, for instance, I do want to change the time and also show how to open the dog food, but I wanted to use my own personal images. So I'm going to click on the edit button down here at the bottom right-hand corner. And when I do that, you'll see that there are a list of all the pages that are available within this book. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I am going to select the 5 o'clock. I want to change this one. I don't want the time to be 5 o'clock because that is way too early for me, especially if it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to click on the page title and I'm going to change that. And I want that page title to be 9 o'clock. Okay. And then I also want to change the page subtitle. I don't want it to say at 5 o'clock, it's time to feed Baxter. I want it to say at 9 o'clock, it's time to feed Diego, who is the name of our dog. Okay, so now I've changed that and I'm going to click on page options to bring me back. I can also change the picture, but unfortunately I don't have a clock image within my camera app. So I am not going to do, I'm just going to, for the sake of time, just leave that 5 o'clock app there. But if I did want to change the picture, the concept would be the same as it was in adding a user or even adding a book. If I click on that, you'll see that it'll give me the option to take a photo, choose a photo, or the picture history. But again, in this case, I am going to leave the photo that is already there. So all of this looks good and I like it very much. So I am going to click back on this edit pages. So to take me back to the edit pages menu. And I like the 9 o'clock one, but you know, I'm in these pages and I realize that scooping the dog food is not necessarily what I needed to happen at any time. I just need them to open the dog food and pour it into the bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this edit button here and you'll see the same as it was for whether or not I wanted to show a book, I can hide pages. So if I click on this on off button, the scoop dog food page will hide. But let's say, well, I think scooping the dog food is actually important. So I want to keep that in there, but I want to reorder it. So maybe I want to reorder pour in bowl before scoop dog food. So what I can do is I can click on the these move page handles and I hold my finger down on it. And as you can see, I have the ability to move it wherever I want to move it within the book. But logically, it's not logical to pour the food in the bowl before scooping it out of the dog food can. So I'm going to put that right back where it was. As you look here, you'll also see that there's the option to be able to delete pages. If you didn't want to just turn them off or on, let's say you just didn't have any use for them, you could delete it. And so you can select one of these little red minus signs here and delete the page. Well, that's not the case. We actually like these. I just wanted to edit the page to change it from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It all looks great. So I'm going to select the done button and then I'm going to select the done button here. And when I do that, you see here that the timer has been set to 9 o'clock. Well, that's how you edit the pages that are already in existence within a book that might be a sample book or just a template. Now, let's say, for instance, I wanted to add a page to this book. Well, the concept is very similar. I'll go down to this right-hand bottom here and select add a page. And when I do, you'll notice that it gives me all of these options in order to add the page. So I can click on page picture and choose a picture either from the history, or I can choose a picture that's inside of my camera. In this case, I'm going to select a picture from my history. I'm going to select the man with the check mark there. Okay. Now I can also title the page, and I'm going to title it All Done. Question mark. Okay. And then I can put in a page subtitle. So let's say I wanted the subtitle to be, Did we complete all the steps? Okay. And that is just the question that I want as my subtitle. And then I'm going to click on the new page so that it takes me back to the new page menu again. And again, I have the option to already have the page checked off or to hide the page. Well, I don't want either of those because I want the page to be available for me. And then I'm going to select done. And as you can see here, a new page has been added to a book that was a template. So if I actually go to read the book, you'll see that if I swipe my finger, my 9 o'clock is there. And then Diego's name is in the book instead of Baxter. And if I continue to go through the book, you'll see that the all done page is now there. Did we complete all of the steps? Okay, so there was another way that you can reorder pages in the book other than going through the steps that we did earlier when we were talking about how to add pages. And it's really, really, really simple. So if I'm already inside of a book, let's go back. Okay, so here's the sample book. I click on the book and it takes me to so that I can see all the pages within the book. If I just hold my finger down on one of the pages, you'll see it will begin to shake. I can move it wherever I want it to go. And so that's another way that you can reorder the books without having to go into the edit menu and reset it that way. So that's just another little quick tip on how to reorder the pages. Now here I am looking at all the pages that are available in Feeding Baxter, in the Feeding Baxter book or the sample book. And let's say, for instance, I wanted to add sound to the page. So I'm going to click back on the 9 o'clock, and you will see right here in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a microphone here. I'm going to click on that. Now, when I click on that, it's actually recording my audio. So I am speaking at this moment right now, and I am going to stop. Now, when I click on the play button here, let's hear what it sounds like. Now, when I click on that, it's actually recording my audio. So I am speaking at this moment right now, and I am going. Okay, so now you see how it records the audio for the pages. But earlier in the settings video, when we looked at that, we saw that instead of sound, we wanted to use a check mark whenever we clicked on the pages. So let's click on this Edit Pages button to take us back to the menu. And let's just say we're done with editing those pages. I'm just going to click on Done. Now, really quickly, let me show you what the difference is between that setting of either using audio or using the check mark. Let's click on the Read button. Now, here we have the sample. I am going to go forward to the 9 o'clock book here. And as you can see right here in the right-hand side of the book, there's the option for the audio or the check mark. If I click on the audio. Now, when I click on that, it's actually you'll hear the audio. It's actually recording my audio. Okay, you will hear the audio. But if I click on the picture, I'll get the check mark. Now let's go back, all the way back to the settings. So I'm clicking on the books here, and then I'm clicking on users, and I want to click on settings. Let's say I change that on tap to play sound, okay, in the settings. So now I'm going to go all the way back into the books that I just created. And now I'm going to push read. When I push read and I go back to the page where I've added audio, now I'm going to click on the picture here. Now when I click on that, it's actually recording. And you will see that instead of playing or putting a check mark there, it'll start to play the sound. So that's how that setting works within the books. Now, what I'm looking at is a book with the check mark on it. So what that means is that the book has been gone through and that all of the pages have been completed, which means that they have check marks on them. Now, let's say, for instance, I want to take all of those check marks off so that we can redo this book again in the morning. Well, I could go through each page and try to uncheck it by reading it and unchecking, but there's an easier way to do that. So if I go down to the edit button down here in the bottom right-hand corner, I click on that, you'll notice that there's a button here that says uncheck all. Well, I'm going to click on that button and you'll see that it takes all the check marks away from all the pages so that I don't have to go back into the book and manually uncheck each book. I'll select done, go back to my books, and you'll notice that the book is no longer checked. Okay, now we want to see how to add pages and to edit a book that we created on our own. So I'm going to click on Ramel Terry, and there you'll see our test book number 1 that we created. So when I click on that, you'll see that the page comes up that says that there are no pages and that I should tap add page to add a new page. And so this goes back into how the videos that talked about how to add pages into pre-made books actually works. So it's kind of the same, or it is exactly the same. So I'm going to select add a page right here in the bottom right hand corner. And it's going to give me the options of to add a picture to the page, to change the page title, to add a subtitle, to mark the page as checked, or to hide the page. Well, I'm going to go through and select all of these options. I'm actually going to go through and select my picture history. And I am going to use the clock again. And then I'm going to add a title, which is, let me type in check the time. Then I'm going to select done. And then page subtitle, I'm going to add in just text, do you know what time it is? Okay. And now I'm going to select on the new page to take me back to the new page menu. And if I wanted to add audio, I could add that here. If you're interested in finding out how to add audio, you can go back to the table of contents of this video and see how to add audio. But otherwise, I'm good here. So I'm going to select done. Now, when I click on the read button, now I see that my book cover is there. It's test book 1 and it has my logo there. And then there's the page to check the time. And since there's no audio there, if I click on the image, nothing will happen because in the settings, we set it up so that when you press tap on the image that the audio would play, but there is no audio. So I'm just going to select the check mark and say that this is done. And now I'm at the end of my book. And when I go to back, you'll see that the book is check marked. Now, again, if I wanted to uncheck all of the pages within the book, I can go down here to the bottom right-hand corner and select edit and select uncheck all and then done. Now I go back to my books and now I have edited a new book for Ramel. Okay, so now I've created all of my books and my user profiles. And now basically what I want to do is I want to lock down the books. I don't want any edits to be created to the books unless the individual who is making the edits has a passcode. We definitely don't want Ramel going into his books and messing things up or moving pages around or accidentally deleting things. So what we want to do is we want to look at this cool little feature with the passcode lock in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to click on that. And as you can see, it says enter a 4-digit child lock. So you can enter a numerical child lock there. But there's also an important message here that says if you forget the passcode, you can reset it in the settings app. Well, we're going to look at that in just a second. But first, we want to go ahead and enter a 4-digit lock code. In this case, just for this video, I'm going to enter in 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's going to ask me to re-enter it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have a child code lock set. So if I go into Ramel's books, you'll see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there is no longer the edit option. Now, let's say, for instance, I have forgotten the passcode. Well, I'm going to go into my settings. And you will see if I scroll here on the far left, you'll see the apps that are available there. And I was in the Social Story app, which is here. And if I need to reset it, I can reset it here. So if I click reset the lock, I say on, and I'm going to go back to the Social Stories. You will see that the lock is no longer there in place. Now, if your child knows how to go back into your settings and change that and whatnot, then you'll probably have to put restrictions on your iPad. But that just shows you really quickly how to reset your password. So another feature that I want to show you that is specifically on 3 apps, which is iGet My Family, iSequence My School Schedules, and iSequence My Daily Schedules, is the ability to export books. So iGet is currently testing this ability on these 3 apps, and hopefully in the future it will be implemented on all the remainder of the apps. But really quickly, I want to show you how easy it is to export a book and how cool it actually is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Daily Schedules. And as you can see, there is a profile already created for Ramel. And so I'm going to click on him, and you'll see that in schedules, there are his Monday through Friday, or actually Monday through Sunday, and then also the calendar concepts, favorites, and photos. So what I'm going to do is I am going to click on Monday, and I'm going to hold my finger down on Monday. When I do that, you will see that an option to either export book data or email book PDF will pop up. So I'm going to show both of these. I'm going to click on export book data. And when I do that, it's going to take a couple seconds to kind of render it. And then an email will pop up. So when the email pops up, it gives me the ability to email this book that has been rendered for the specific iGet School Schedules app into an email so that I can email that to someone who has the app as well. Now, the other option gave me the ability to create a PDF. So when I hold my finger back down on Monday again, I can click email book as a PDF. And so it's going to render that as a PDF. Now it's exported it, and here you see there's an attachment that's created a PDF. And I just think that that's just a cool feature, and hopefully they'll be able to keep it and implement it in all of the other apps, because I feel like it's just a great way to share books back and forth between either family members or teachers or just anyone who has these wonderful apps. Well, we certainly hope that you have enjoyed the video tutorials for the iGet It app series. This is Teresa Vasquez Terry from Dr. Tech Mom signing off from Studio 33. Have a good one.